My name is Asia Sampson, and today on Baptism Overland, it is Mail Call Monday. Actually, you'll be watching this on Friday, so that doesn't really... I have to think of a better name. You know, my son watches YouTube, and I remember a long time ago I said to myself, like, why do these videos get so many views? Like, why would anybody want to watch someone else unbox things? And then a couple years later, I found myself watching people unbox overland and camping gear and camera gear, and I'm like, oh, I get it. You know, I did an unboxing video maybe 5-6 months ago, and I really enjoyed making that video that I'm like, you know what? I should do more of these. And I was out of town pretty much the entire month of October. And what's good about being out of town is you get to come home and see all these boxes that were delivered to you while you were gone. Some of this stuff was sent to me for review. Other stuff was sent to me as gifts. Others I bought and purchased myself. So I figured this would be a good time to do an unboxing, show you all the new gear that I cannot wait to start using or installing in our rig. So let's just get to it. All right, so the way I'm going to do this is I have 2 big items and then a bunch of smaller stuff. So we'll start with a big item, do some of the smaller stuff, and then end with a big item. And first up is a Zero Breeze Elechive. I cannot wait to show you this. I think they're only just now going on sale, so I am one of the first few people that get to actually use this thing. Let me show you. The Zero Breeze Elechive 2200. As you know, Zero Breeze makes some really great AC units. Problem with the AC unit though is that unless you're plugged up, it's hard to get power to it. So sometimes you'll have to buy their batteries, which will last about 5 hours. You can plug it up to, you know, like a Jackery, or plug it up to a Goal Zero or something like that and get a little bit more juice. Well, they decided, let's just come up with our own power bank, and this is gonna be awesome. I mean, 2200 watt hours. This is gonna last a while. I will get more into depth about this and what this thing does in a separate video, but for now I do want to show this to you because I don't even think they're sold yet. They're just now getting ready to ship, as I was told, and so they wanted me to have one of the first few looks at it. And I'm gonna tell you right now, this thing is heavy. Like, oh, it's I think it's safe to say that after this, I pretty much have all my power taken care of. This is actually packaged really nicely. Let me just, if I could show you, it's so heavy. But see, it's kind of all organized in there. So you get, looks like I'm so excited, I'm losing my words. Okay, 12 volt socket here. Then you have, it looks like a 12 volt socket extension. So if you need to extend that a little bit, that's pretty cool. Or actually, no, this would go, yeah, I think this would go into the unit itself. So you can have a 12 volt socket that you can use and extend from the Elechive, because you have the 12 volt socket here and then you have your connectors there. Power cord, which is a humongous power cord, and it looks like all their connections are this kind of connection. So instead of it being like the just like a regular like plug, you have like these kind of connectors, which is similar to what you would use in their solar panels. Oh my god, it is heavy. Ugh. Look how nice this is. Color-wise and everything, no bright colors, no, it's just so sleek. This is like the nicest looking power bank that I have. I like this a lot, and you're getting a ton of ports. 2200, you better. This is the first time I'm seeing this, so I haven't really had a chance to look at everything, but you got your 12 volt socket there. You got a power button here. Let's see if there's even charge in this. Boom, right now we have 1,780 watt hours. That's a lot, and that's at 69%, you guys. 69%, 1780 watt hours, and then it says hours to empty, 99.9 hours. So that's what, 24, 48. That's about 4 days before this thing will empty. And then you have, let's see, we've got a 12 volt right here, 10 amp, 12 volt 25 amp, USB-C, USB-C, USB-A, USB-A, and then we've got power ports like crazy. So I'll be able to put my my fridge in here. I'll be able to put the AC unit in here. That is pretty nice. That's a lot of ports, you guys. Auto setup on and off. What that's for, I don't know yet. 30 to 75 volt fast charging, 12 to 30 volts normal charging, charge and discharging 90%, 100%. What all this stuff means yet, I don't know. I will go through a video about this, like a whole video dedicated to this thing once I get my bearings. I'm just really excited about this thing. The Zero Breeze Elechive 2200. This thing is pretty killer. All right, so Zero Breeze AC unit, Zero Breeze power bank, which has now made its home right there. They're not stopping there. So one of the next things that they have to get these things powered up, solar panels. So they want to give you the opportunity to basically charge up that power bank or charge up the AC unit directly with solar, so you're not depleting the power of that. I mean, 2200, it's going to be a while before that gets depleted. Although with the AC, that will charge the AC for about 14 hours. So you do kind of want to conserve it if you're using big items and you're charging it with that stuff, like for example your fridge or your AC unit. You want to try to preserve that as much as possible, which is why they're also offering solar, so you can switch to solar in those times when you can actually take advantage of it. If you're stationary somewhere, it's really sunny out, take advantage of solar. So you got your connectors right here. This, I believe, would connect the two solars together, because I sent 2 solar panels. Each one is 100 watts. Nice packaging, by the way. Based on pictures I saw, they look like the hard kind of solar panels. If that's the case, then I may mount this to the roof of the 4Runner. But if it's not, if it's kind of like the ones I have from Jackery where you can fold it up and it's kind of soft, then we'll just store it, and that way we don't have to mount it anywhere. So yes, soft. So that's good. One less thing to mount on the roof and taking up space. So this will work. This does open up, so you are going to get a really huge solar panel, 100 watts each. They look like this, very thin profiled. Okay, you have your stand right there. You have, this is where all the connections are. So there you go. So yeah, there you go. 100 watt solar panel, got 2 of them. That'll be awesome. FrontRunner sent me some accessories to put on the 4Runner roof rack. FrontRunner, 4Runner. You're gonna hear me confuse these two a ton in this segment probably. About a few months ago, we installed the FrontRunner Slim Sport rack on the 4Runner, and we had some issues. We had some leaking issues, and then the big thing was when they delivered the rack to us, hardware was everywhere, the box was destroyed, and it wasn't FrontRunner's fault, it was UPS. But I posted a video. FrontRunner felt really bad and hit me back and said they want to make it up to me and send me some stuff to accessorize the new roof rack with. They already sent me the camp table, which I installed on the Jeep, but they also sent these, and these are Chocks. We like to mount our Wolfpack, the FrontRunner Wolfpack boxes on our roof racks, and I put mine on top of the rooftop tent, so I can't use this because there's a rooftop tent on top of my roof rack. But on the 4Runner, I don't have a rooftop tent up there. I just have the slats, and we use that for cargo. Sometimes when you mount stuff on your roof rack, they have a tendency to slide around. And this particular roof rack for the 4Runner does not have a lip around the rack, unlike the FrontRunner roof rack that I have on the Jeep. So what these do is they just help hold the boxes in place. So if we're gonna put the Wolfpack boxes on top of the 4Runner, having these at the corners will just make sure that our boxes don't slide anywhere. You still have to strap it down, and you make sure you strap it down really nicely, but this will just help kind of hold those boxes in place. I'm also glad that they included some of their D-rings that we would put on the roof rack itself. So there's that. That's going to go on the rack, and then we'll be able to put our straps onto this stuff, strap everything down. It'll be nice and tight and clean. and they also included this kind of rubber edging. We put this on like the edges, like here, just to kind of prevent scratches and scuffs. Like you could put it like here as well, so that it's not scratching up your roof rack and stuff. So they include that. They even send you like a little card. This is packaged nicely, you know, versus what happened with the roof rack when we had it. And that's not what I'm used to when it comes to this company, because they're always really, really good at their packaging. And this one came in the way it was supposed to. Everything was packed up really nicely, and you get a little note that someone inspected it, all that good stuff. So I cannot wait to put this on the Runner. Speaking of the roof rack of the 4Runner, now a few months ago I did an install of the Waterport to the side of the Jeep, and I mounted it to the hardtop right below the very rear windows. But obviously that is not kind of the same spot where I'm going to put it into the 4Runner. I'm not going to be drilling into the metal panels of the side of the 4Runner, and I really don't want like the molly panels that go over the outside of the rear windows of the 4Runner. I just that's not the look I'm going for. Instead, I would rather mount the same Waterport we bought. I want to mount it to the roof rack of the Runner. I could fabricate some sort of mounting system up there, but I figured let's just buy a mount directly from Waterport and make this whole process a lot easier. So the first thing I bought was another mounting plate. I already have one of these. It came with the Waterport, and I mounted one of these to the Jeep. And then to mount it to the roof rack, I bought their roof rack bracket, and this thing is stout. This thing is a lot more stout than any DIY that I could make. I mean, this thing is pretty strong and secure. It's beefy. Basically, you have these slots here, so you can mount it to anywhere on your roof rack that have those channels, and then you take the plate like this, put it over like that, and then you'll be able to put the Waterport, slide it right on there. And because this thing is so beefy, this thing is not going to bend or move on you. It's just going to keep the Waterport nice and secure on the roof rack. Along with those chocks, we're going to be installing all this stuff on the 4Runner in about a couple of weeks. I'll get everything installed, and you guys will see how well this actually integrates into the roof rack. Got something from Bodega or Alpacool. I did a video about not even a month ago on the Bodega fridge, and they saw the video, and in that video I mentioned that I wish they would have sent me the battery too, so they did. What's good about this thing is if you watch the video, there's a slot in there where you can put in a battery, so you don't have to plug in that Bodega fridge to a power bank or plug it up to the vehicle. Or you could plug it to the vehicle when the vehicle is running, but when it's not running, you can switch over to this, and this is just a battery that will plug directly into the fridge, and that way I don't have to rely on power banks and everything to power it up. Kind of clicks into the fridge and will allow you to run the fridge off of this. I don't know how long. Next trip that we have, I will let you guys know how long the fridge runs on just this. I'm telling you guys, my power needs are pretty much taken care of after this video. And I know when it comes to like overlanding, camping, and being disconnected, you don't necessarily want all the electronics, iPads and iPhones. You want to kind of disconnect. That's true. However, you still need power whenever you can to be able to run a fridge and lights and things of that nature. So it's always good to have multiple ways of powering stuff up without taking a whole bunch of stuff with you. And this being plugged into the fridge is going to be great, because it doesn't take up any room at all. This will just go right into the fridge, and then we'll carry the Zero Breeze power bank with us for all the other stuff that we need to charge up. So again, yeah, I think I'm good when it comes to power. All right, and one last small thing before I get to the big thing. I got sent something from Helinox. Is it Helinox or Helinox? You'll know who they are because they make camp chairs and a lot of other camp accessories. This is the Helinox Bloncho. It's a pretty cool concept. This is a blanket slash poncho, and we're gonna basically use this around camp. When it gets really cold and temperatures start to drop, my wife gets very cold easily, and what this is basically just a humongous blanket that you would lay on a chair. If you see here, this has like a little kind of hole up here, so you basically wear this and you sit around the campfire and it'll keep you warm. I'm sure you can go straight into your tent wearing this as well, and then just go straight to sleep. Put this underneath a sleeping bag if it's even colder. It has its own little bag here. Let's do a quick test and see how fast this can get put away, because if it's quick, I don't like to have stuff that take too long to put away, because then you don't want to deploy it, right? Like when you have stuff and it takes too long to put away or set up, then you kind of don't want to use it. This thing's already tied to the blanket itself, so that's good, so you won't lose the bag. So let's try to roll this thing up. The Helinox Bloncho, kind of nice little accessory to have at camp. Thank you guys for sending this over. All right, finally, to round everything out is from a company that I love working with, and you've heard me talk about them a bunch of times. They outfitted the Jeep, and then they hit me up and said, all right, now that the Jeep is outfitted, let's outfit the 4Runner. So they sent a whole bunch of lights for the 4Runner. You know who they are. Lightforce. I was so excited that I already opened the box. A couple of stuff you already saw me put on the Jeep, but now we're going to be putting it on the 4Runner, plus something different for the 4Runner as well. 2 pairs of the Rock 20s. These are great for the roof, and that's exactly where I'm going to be putting these. I've used them already on the Jeep, and they light up the area so nicely without it being so blinding to everyone at camp. All right, something else that they sent to me that you've already seen me install on the Jeep. When they first sent it to me, no one had it yet. They were just releasing it, but now it's available if you wanted to buy it. It is their Amber Rock 40s. I have loved this on the Jeep as well. It looks blue because there's a blue film on it, but when you peel this off, it's going to be bright orange. These are awesome lights. I use them as ditch lights for the Jeep, and that's exactly what I'm going to do with the 4Runner as well. Comes with a wiring harness right below that. You have a wiring harness that splits into 2, which makes the installation really easy. I just have to modify the harnesses a bit because they're made for you to install it with a switch, but because we have a switch pod, then we're just going to cut out some of the parts and plug directly to our switch pod, which makes it really easy. But what I'm really excited about is something different different than what I have on the Jeep. And oh, this is super nice as well. The Genesis, a pair of Genesis lights, got the double wiring harness here that goes with that. I need to show you guys. My God, these are gonna look so good on the 4Runner. I mean, yeah. It's so slim profiled, so there's not a lot sticking out in the back, which makes it tough, especially with the 4Runner. When you get like the bumpers for the 4Runner, there's not a lot of space there on the bumper itself, especially the kind I want. I want like a half bumper. So I needed something that's thinner profiled like this. My HTX2s, which were my dream lights, they protrude a little bit more, so it needed a little bit more space, but the Genesis are super thin. They wanted to know if I wanted the HTX2s on the Runner, but I wanted something a little bit of a different look, and so I asked for the Genesis instead, and I think this is just gonna look really nice, a pair of these on the front of the 4Runner. I'm gonna do a series of videos on the install of all of these lights. However, instead of me repeating the same information that I gave you when we installed the stuff on the Jeep, like I don't want to redo the same Rock 20 install. We did that on the Jeep already, gave you the specs for it. I'm going to instead, the way I'm going to do the series for this is I'm going to integrate this with other installs on the Runner so you can see how well these lights fit into that system. So for example, with the Rock 20s, I'm going to install this on the roof rack of the 4Runner along with all the other accessories I showed you earlier, plus a couple more stuff like an awning. That way you can see just how well it all comes together. And then with these, I'm going to do this with a front bumper install on the 4Runner. That way you'll be able to see us install a front bumper as well as the lights. So that way you'll see how all this kind of integrates and makes it, and kind of just changes the look of the 4Runner. So make sure you stay tuned for that. All right, looks like that is it. That is everything I got in the mail. I hope you enjoyed it. I got a lot of really good stuff this time around, like that Helinox Bloncho. that looks like that's going to be clutch, especially when the temperatures start to drop. This is going to be a nice thing to have around the fire. The external battery for the Bodega fridge, I think that's going to be a great addition to that as well. I can run the fridge off of that. And then that Elechive from Zero Breeze, that is going to be, I cannot wait to try that out at camp. Next week's video is going to be a deeper dive into that Elechive. I want to be able to see how fast we can charge that thing back up with solar, with the solar panels. They gave me 200 watts. And also stay tuned, because in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be doing some mods on the runner. First up are all the roof rack accessories that I have for it. That's going to be really nice. We're going to accessorize the roof rack of the 4Runner and get that thing ready. So stay tuned for that. I'm just waiting for a couple more parts so I can do that video. And then after that, we're probably going to do the front bumper install on the 4Runner as well, along with those Lightforce Genesis lights. That's going to be pretty awesome. So make sure you stay tuned for that. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and also consider supporting us on Patreon so we can continue to make more content like this. And as always, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Baptism Overland. My name is Asia Sampson, and I will see you next time. All right, that's it, right? There's nothing else, because, man, it started off so cold this morning, and now it's friggin' hot. Florida, in the fall, has no idea what weather it wants to be.